The Subnautica 2 teaser trailer has just dropped, so I thought why not record my initial reaction so you can get all of my thoughts as I watch the trailer for the first time. And hey, maybe when the game comes out, we can look back on this video and see what I got right and what I got wrong, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of both. Okay, is that an Altera dive suit? It kind of looks like one. Wow, that is super pretty. Really, really pretty. I'm actually seriously impressed by that. Looks like our protagonist. Who is that? That is a cool looking creature. I said I wanted a crab looking creature. That is awesome. Okay, down the hole. That's definitely an Altera dive suit. Okay, is this a new protagonist? It doesn't quite look like Riley. I think this is somebody new. Unless it could be Riley, I suppose. They could have just rejigged him. Oh, we got two characters. Okay. You're definitely not Riley. Last time I checked. It looks like a pretty cool, interesting vehicle, though. It looks similar to be... Oh, maybe not Altera design. There's no orange on that? Or maybe it is. So that would definitely suggest... What on earth are you? That is a cool-looking creature, whatever that is. Wow. Okay, guys. Looks like it was short and sweet, but wow. It looks seriously pretty. Coming 2025, early access, so... I wonder if that's the beginning of 2025. That might be a bit ambitious, you know, mid-2025, we don't know yet, I suppose. We're going to have to go back, rewind some of that, and have a deeper look and just see what we can figure out. But first impression is that looks seriously, seriously beautiful. Like, really, really good. Now, I don't know if that will just be, you know, a cinematic rather than in-engine, but I'm seriously impressed. That looks really, really cool. You know, as we know Subnautica 2 is co-op, why not bring me along with you? I've teamed up with the guys at Gimme Swag to create a plushie of me. Pre-orders are now live on their website alongside a 2D preview, but it's only going to be available until December 3rd, so make sure you don't miss out, and by using the code Aletho15 you can get 15% off. Right, now let's get into that breakdown. So let's start with the first thing we see in the trailer, one of our protagonists sinking in the water and what he's wearing. So from the limited light, this looks like a standard Altera dive suit. Later on in the trailer we get a better look, and you can clearly see Altera's typical colour scheme of white, yellow, black and grey. It's not quite as simple as the original Subnautica's, but feels like a merger between that one and Robin's suit from Below Zero. It also kind of reminds me of the reinforced dive suit that can be found in both games, but also has a helmet that looks a bit like the radiation suit with its clear front. This honestly feels like a combination of almost every suit we've seen so far in the franchise, but I think it looks really great. We also see the oxygen warning sign a few times throughout the trailer, so maybe this gives us some idea of what the game's HUD might eventually look like, but that could also be a completely artistic thing. Our second protagonist has a similar colour scheme for her dive suit, so although they do look slightly different, I think that's just the lighting from the inside of the submarine, so I'm pretty sure they're wearing the same outfit, just minus the oxygen tank. It will be interesting to see if these two are named characters that we will play as, or maybe they're just representations of our own players in-game. As we know Subnautica 2 will be 4-player co-op, there's a good chance of there being character customization options, so we might not actually see these guys outside of trailers. I suppose we'll have to wait and see what other information we'll get in the future. Alongside the trailer, Unknown Worlds also released a bunch of screenshots for us to dig our teeth into, and this one appears to show small propeller devices moving players through the water. This screenshot is named Wake Maker, and if you didn't know, a wake is what we call the water behind a ship or object moving through the water. I think there's a good chance that these little guys might be this game's version of the Sea Glide, the first game's quick and speedy travel companion, and of course, called Wake Makers. Jumping back into the trailer, our protagonist is also seen carrying an Altera scanner tool, which looks almost identical to the versions we've seen before in Subnautica and Below Zero, apart from one key detail. This one doesn't appear to have the pop-out screen we saw on the old scanner. Instead, it seems to have a 3D generated image of whatever you're scanning. The old little screen used to be where the Altera logo would sit, but this also seems to be missing from this new design. In this screenshot named Plateaus, we see a player holding this new scanner tool, and it definitely seems like an upgrade on the original design. Now, this is a little bit of theory crafting on my behalf, but the green tint of the scanning process really reminds me of Architect technology, and could be an example of where Altera has integrated alien technology found in previous games into their new designs. Sticking with our Altera theme, it seems from the trailer that our beloved PDA voice will be making a return. It seems on this one they've gone back to a more Subnautica 1 style of voice rather than the version we saw in Below Zero. It's not the clearest of audio, but it doesn't sound exactly the same as the original Subnautica version, although it is quite close, and personally I'm pretty happy with that, as I always preferred the first game's voice. Now, what about this submarine? So again, we don't get the best look at this vehicle as it's pretty dark, but it appears to be this game's game's version of the Seamoth or the Sea Truck, and appears to match the vehicle we saw in the screenshot released on the 8th of February. It seems to have a massive front window, so should give you a pretty good view while driving it around, and also has the typical Altera colour scheme. If we dive back into the screenshots released alongside the trailer, this one shows the vehicle from behind and gives us a good deal of detail. It looks like the craft is pushed through the water by a large propeller and supported by some smaller ones. This screenshot is named Tadpole, and while there are plenty of other things going on in this scene, I think there's a pretty good chance this name refers to the vehicle. As we all know, tadpoles have large bodies with a small tail, and this vehicle's main propeller definitely gives off that vibe. So now that we've covered all of that, let's get into the really exciting stuff, the creatures and the world. Now looking at this footage, I think it's safe to say we have finally left 4546b behind, but just what might we find on this new planet? I believe this area here is our new safe Shallows biome, and seems to match this screenshot called Shallows, as you can clearly see this yellow grass and these strange alien plants. This area looks bright and colourful and looks to be a form of coral reef. We also get a good look at this purple fish. We have actually seen this little guy before, from an image in a Craft and Financial report, who are the company who own Unknown Worlds. In this image the creature is red, but it's definitely the same type of fish. It's possible that these guys come in all sorts of different colours, and I'm going to be brave and say this will probably be the new game's logo, similar to how the Peeper and the Arctic Peeper are the icons of Subnautica and Below Zero. This biome also seems to have another creature that we don't actually see in the trailer, but we do in the screenshot. These two here actually look to be the same type of creature, with them sharing similar eyes and mouths. It looks like the creature will be aggressive to players, with them having the ability to open a fan-like structure around their heads when attacking, which makes them look larger. In the top right of the screenshot, we see the outlines of a different type of fish. It's kinda hard to tell what these are, but they do look pretty similar to these fish found in the Wakemaker screenshot, so it could be some more of them. Now the second creature we see in the trailer is this giant crustacean that reminds me a lot of a hermit crab. In the trailer it pops out of the ground, which would be really cool to see if they can make it do that in game. From our trailer interaction, it doesn't look like the creature is aggressive. It might take the player by surprise, but it doesn't seem to actually want to eat him. It just kinda stares at him with those big alien eyes. There are creatures that look very similar to this in the previously mentioned tadpole screenshot. They have matching eyes and tentacles coming out of their faces, and look almost identical, apart from the fact they are completely different colours. It also seems they're much smaller than the version seen in the trailer, as these ones are big, but only a few times bigger than the vehicle, while Big Bertha here absolutely dwarfs them. I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess this isn't just an artistic difference. I think maybe these purple guys are juveniles which grow into the much larger variant, or they might be completely different species that just look very similar, with one growing much larger than the other. Whatever creature this is, I feel pretty confident in saying I think we've just seen our first Subnautica 2 Leviathan. The trailer then shows us our third new creature. Swimming as part of a shoal are these little purple fish with a hole at their centre, and if you were paying close attention, you will have noticed these guys appear in our last screenshot. This actually gives us a much better look at these intriguing creatures, with them maybe even having 8 eyes, although some of these could be fake and used as camouflage instead. The top left of this image shows us even more fish, although again I think they might be the same fish we saw in the Wakemaker screenshot. Now if we take another look at that plateau screenshot we saw earlier, we see another brand new creature. This one looks like some kind of shark, and that pointy mouth makes me think it's probably not going to be friendly. This creature can again be seen in Wakemaker, so it doesn't seem like the creature is limited to deeper areas, and might be similar to the original game's Stalker, but can still be found in many places throughout the map. Looking at the biome we see in this image, it seems to be tucked away below the surface with limited light, but isn't too deep, as we can still see light streaming in through gaps in the rock. This biome isn't actually new, as Unknown Worlds revealed this area with a teaser image in a dev blog on the 28th of May, but it does give us some more information for this yet to be named location. To finally round up with our Wakemaker screenshot, we have another fish. This one is really quite difficult to see, but looks to have 4 points with some kind of spike or fin on the end. I can't quite tell if we're looking at the front or the back of the creature here, although in the same image we get another version that appears to have a hole in the front, so maybe that's its mouth. It's kinda hard to say. We have seen this creature before in the 8th of February screenshot, but this version is a bit more detailed, although not a lot. And just before we move on from this screenshot, I noticed this thing on the ground, which kind of looks like metal salvage from the original game. If I'm right, this would hint that there's probably some kind of metallic wreck of a structure or vehicle in this area. Maybe this could somehow relate to the game's story. I suppose we'll have to wait and see. The final screenshot released alongside this trailer is named Graveyard, and appears to show a volcanic area deep within the planet's surface. The main creature in this image is again one we've seen before, and looks like the one released in the 8th of February screenshot, although its mouth appears to be a bit different. It's possible this is a sub-variant of the same creature, or maybe they've changed the design. Either way, it definitely doesn't look friendly. Looking at the wider image, it's hard to say say what gives the area its red tint, as there's no obviously exposed lava, but it almost looks like it could be coming from the glowing crystal at the back of the image. Maybe these are littered throughout the area and that's why it's this colour, but who knows. At the back of the image we again see a stalker-like shark, which supports the idea that these guys don't have a typical biome and can be found all over the place. It's finally time for the moment I'm sure you've all been waiting for. At the very end of the trailer we are shown a purple glowing head, which zooms out to show a massive octopus or squid-like creature. Honestly, I'm really happy with this, as I was always surprised we never had a massive creature in this style before. I mean, sure, they teased us with the end of the Sea Emperor and the Sea Dragon's body, but we never got a Kraken-style creature. At least one that could move anyway, and it looks like this has finally been put right. I don't know if it's just the body shape or the fact that we know octopuses are incredibly smart, but something tells me this creature might be intelligent. That's the vibe I'm getting anyway. I've tried brightening the image to give us a better look, and it looks like the creature might have 6 sets of tentacles, with 2 at the back, 2 in the middle, and then 2 at the very front, which we can't really see. If you look closely, you can also see the creature's mouth start to open. Although it's partly hidden by our protagonists, it definitely has a horrifying mouth. If we zoom in, it also looks like we might be able to see a bit of an orange eye opening, but it's pretty hard to tell. It also appears to have 2 large structures on either side of its body, which don't appear to be normal tentacles. Maybe these could be for balance purposes when it's moving around, but I'm not quite sure. Now that's everything from the trailer and screenshots, but it's not quite the end of the story, as we have some other brand new information revealed in the game's press release and fact sheet. First of all, it shows this advertising poster which gives us another look at that octopus-style boss. You can clearly see its 3-pronged tentacles and this strange purple biome that it seems to inhabit. I'm still getting that evil alien overlord vibe from this, probably more so than the trailer itself. As we get into the text, it confirms the game will take place in an all-new alien ocean, which pretty much confirms this is a new planet. It also says the game will be multiplayer co-op, with players able to collaborate to build bases, face challenges, and explore together, and also mentions what sounds like a biome we haven't seen yet, featuring towering underwater cliffs. It also states that players will face environmental hazards, which we might have already seen in the trailer when our protagonist is sucked deep down below the waves by a strong current. But the really interesting detail here is that it mentions an overhauled building system with greater flexibility when creating custom bases and crafting equipment. This is really exciting. I wonder if that means the existing grid system from the previous games has been revamped, as it was always annoying when you built 2 structures on the grid but could never connect them if you built them out of line. Hopefully this means we will really be able to make our bases our own, with lots of interesting different rooms to play with. It also sounds like we might be able to make tools tailored to specific tasks, such as an extra long scanner or a longer knife for reaching hard to get to resources. And there was one other fact mentioned that really stuck out to me. The release mentions players will study creatures and collect samples to learn more about the world, and evolve their genetics to survive in this hostile environment. What could that mean? Now, in the original Subnautica, there was a cut item called the transfuser that would have allowed players to take DNA from creatures and create buffs for themselves by splicing their DNA. So it sounds like this idea has been revived. I wonder how this might play out in practice. Hopefully not in another Kara incident, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see. So that's everything that was mentioned. Leave a comment down below about what stands out most to you. Honestly, I think this has been a really good reveal, and we have plenty of new information to digest over the coming months. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to be amongst the first to know about any new information related to Subnautica 2. And why not click right here to get caught up with some lore from the original games, so you're all up to date when early access drops next year. The future of Subnautica is almost upon us. And special thanks to my patrons, Asmodeus Mateus, Graham DeLoye, Baron Windy, and Immortal for making this video possible.